The first reading that we listened to this morning came from the 35th chapter of the book of the prophet Isaiah. And it lists the covenantal promises that are going to be fulfilled when the Messiah appears. Those who are blind are going to regain their eyesight. Those who are deaf, their hearing is going to be restored. Those who are lame are going to walk again. And so those are the signs that the prophet is telling us, that when they begin to appear, that when the anointed one whom God sends to redeem and to free his people, those are the signs that are going to begin to be manifested. And so, the second reading, James talks about this attitude of being poor. That the poor are the ones who are blessed because they are the ones who are going to inherit the kingdom of heaven. Not so much being poor, but the attitude of being poor. Because when you have an attitude of being poor, you are very much in need. And God is able to help those who are in need. Who do you think were the first ones to recognize the Messiah? Those who were blind and needed their eyesight restored? Those who were deaf and needed their hearing restored? Or those who were healthy? Those who were well off? The sick are the ones who need a physician. Those who are well do not. I want to read you a story, or a letter, should I say, that I received some years ago from a woman who was at one of my masses when I was pastor in Concord. And she came very poor, but she walked away very rich. This is what she wrote to me. Dear Father Paul, I am a teacher at Pine Haven Boys Center. Ordinarily, I teach one-on-one, but occasionally I sub in the classroom. Being partially deaf, I have a difficult time hearing. Recently, I seem to be having a more difficult time than usual. The one-on-one situation was okay, but in the classroom it was getting to be horrendous. So much so, I was thinking that I might have to find a different job. A miracle occurred at one of the weekend masses I attended. After communion, I was praying my heart out, Jesus, if you want me to continue to teach your troubled boys, then you've got to do something about my ears. As you know, I'm having a very difficult time. If you want me to do something else, then show me. Give me some signs. Your will be done. Then when you lifted your hand at the final blessing and made the sign of the cross, both my ears popped and my hearing was fully restored. My ears are much better than they have been, and voices are much clearer, and I have an easier time understanding what people are saying. God worked through you and gave me his answer. For this I'm eternally grateful and give him the praise. For those who leave after receiving communion, I say, you're missing out on a very precious, intimate moment of communing with Jesus. And then who knows what miracle can take place at the final blessing. Our God is awesome and is full of love. With much gratitude and praise in the Lord, Mrs. Janice so-and-so. Do you know what gospel was being proclaimed that weekend that she received that miracle? This one. And it is a sign that God continues to work miracles in the world and has a desire to want to continue to work miracles. But it begs the question, how do we approach God? Do we come to him poor? Do we come to him with an attitude and deep desire of being in need of what he has to offer? Do we come to God as beggars? As beggars, begging him and asking him for what it is that we need, just as children beg their parents and ask them for what they need. And then parents, oftentimes discerning what the real need is, provide for the real need. What is very clear about this letter is that although this woman had this desire to have her hearing restored, she was willing to accept whatever God sent. If you want me to do something else, give me a sign. Your will be done. She came as a beggar. And so when we come before God, and we come with our physical ailments and afflictions, or we come with our emotional baggage, or we come with whatever it is that we come with, God is full of love. And he is a parent who desires to meet our needs. But we must come with an attitude of being needy, with an attitude of being dependent. See, oftentimes we come with our attitudes of independence. Oftentimes we come with our attitudes of, I'm strong. Well, if we're independent and we're strong, why would we need a God to provide for us? Because we can do it ourselves. And so Jesus spoke one word, Ephata. Be opened, and this man's ears were opened. I made the sign of the cross at the final blessing, and this woman's hearing was restored. God is truly a God of surprises. And he's a God of miracles. And I believe that he wants to work as many miracles today in our time as he worked in those days. Maybe more so today because in many ways, I think we're more needy. Maybe we don't realize we're more needy, but we are. You see, at least back then, those people recognized they needed God. In many ways, in instances, we're needy insofar as we don't think we need him. And so do we come with that attitude of neediness? Do we come with that attitude of being dependent, totally dependent on God for everything? Or do I compartmentalize my life? I need God here and here, but here and here and here I'm all set because I've got everything covered. Do I give God permission to change things? Do I give the Lord permission to move me, to move other people? And when situations and circumstances change in my life, do I see that as the hand of God moving, or do I recognize that as maybe some sort of an emergency that I need to protect myself from? Beggars. We must come before God as beggars and in need. Now, before I end, I just want to revisit something that I spoke about a couple of weeks ago with regards to blessings at communion time. I think I remember speaking about the accident which took place and how difficult it was for extraordinary ministers of the Eucharist to minister the cup or to minister the precious body and to try to administer blessings at the same time. And so I said that we were going to dispense from that, but I've heard from a number of you, and so I'm going to amend it a little bit. So for those of you who are adults and want to come forth for a blessing and you want to bring your children for a blessing, come to the priest. All right? I will give your children a blessing. I will give you a blessing. All right? The other ministers will not. I will. But clearly, there is a difference between what you're receiving at the end of Mass, a priestly blessing, as opposed to a little sign of the cross. And so we'll walk it back a little bit because we want to try to meet your needs. Okay?